Happy first day of spring. Also happy March equinox. I believe it's March equinox. So welcome to Quarantine Files, episode 2, day 3 of quarantine, at least for me. So I just want to let you all know, given the fact it's the first day of spring, it is extremely hot today. You can already see this, my forehead is getting a little shiny. Okay, so 1, you're gonna see a cup appear, and 2, I'm gonna have a different shirt on. Don't be alarmed, okay? I'm letting you know now. That way you're not like, weren't you wearing a different shirt? Yes, I was, to answer your question. So today's video is actually coming from my Q&A that I was doing on Instagram and Snapchat. Somebody asked me what was my undergrad experience like, and I feel like I kind of touched on it in my first video, but I didn't really get too much into it. I kind of touched on it just to let you all know I was busy, but we didn't go in depth. Every video something is going to be different about the background. Not necessarily will I be changing clothes every video, but the background will change in every video. And if you comment below what has changed, and if you get it all correct, I will enter you into a raffle to be one of my ambassadors for my hair and skincare products. So, you don't have to. You definitely don't have to. But I'll be picking a winner at the end of April. So, every single video, something will be different in the background, starting from Quarantine Files episode 1. But anyway, let's just go ahead and dive right in. I was 17 when I went to college, graduated high school on my 17th birthday. And what that means is I could not sign any paperwork at all. So first of all, orientation, before orientation, I went to the startup weekend, which is very different now, but the startup weekend I went to is actually where I met one of my mentors, who I still call mom. And it's funny because I wasn't even supposed to be her resident that she was gonna have for startup weekend. Somebody from my high school was supposed to be her resident, and they ended up coming, and the person who I had that I was supposed to be staying with, she was on the track team and she was tired, and she made it pretty clear she wanted nothing to do with us, myself and my best friend at the time, who lived with me and my family and went with me to startup weekend. She made it very clear she didn't want anything to do with us, and we just felt so rejected and so hurt. And Taylor was like, well, my person didn't show up, y'all could just stay with me. And we were like, cool. So I ended up meeting her roommates at the time, and it was really cool. She was literally just like me, and it was kind of crazy. And she was also an orientation leader, so she was like, you might get me for orientation. So that was really exciting, but I just felt so welcomed, and I didn't know how much of an impact she would really have, and I didn't know how big of a role she would actually play in my life, but it was such a great experience. Fast forward to orientation. I had a blast. I am an extrovert, and if you have ever been to orientation, a great orientation. I can't speak for everyone's orientation, but our orientation, boy, what, you couldn't tell us anything. We had so much fun. Like, it doesn't even make sense. But Taylor ended up being my orientation leader, and I literally had such a great time. I got to meet so many people, and she was like, well, why don't you be an orientation leader? So guess who signed up to be an orientation leader? Of course, I made it through the interviews, became an orientation leader. So before I, move on with that, I also was recommended to be an 1828 ambassador. And I was like, okay, sure. Went to talk to the person who was over it, and they were like, well, no one's ever been recommended, so you must be special, especially because of the person who recommended me. And I'm not gonna put them on blast because I don't want people to like hit them up and be like, hey, can you write me a recommendation? Y'all leave her alone, she's busy. Okay. But I was like, okay, what is it? So we talked, I had an interview, and then I was accepted for the position as an 1828 ambassador, which really was great because I was an ambassador at my high school. Fun fact, I was crazy involved in high school, so it should not surprise you that when I got to college, I literally hit the ground running and got involved in everything. I'm not gonna do a timeline of my freshman year just because so much happened. But another thing that happened was I got a boyfriend. And you know, at first everything was great. Everything was so wow. But granted, I was 17. Okay. And I wasn't allowed to date when I was younger. Okay. So if you saw the get to know me tag video I did 2 videos ago, you kind of heard me touch on the relationship where it was an on and off situation after a while. That was this one. He was my first boyfriend because I had dated somebody in high school for 3 months after he asked my dad on my 16th birthday if he could date me, and then after 3 months it didn't really work out. He was still in love with his ex. So but the guy I dated in college, it was great at first, and then it just took a turn. You know, I'm not gonna say it's all his fault, but he wasn't ready for a relationship and I was pushing for one. So then we got in one, and it just, the thing is, I don't get why people bother other people if they're not really ready for a relationship, because I was perfectly fine. He approached me, I curved him, then I gave him a chance. Dummy. How do I give you the ball and then you... Anyway, point is, he played a large role in my college experience, and I'm not gonna get into it. We could save that for another video. Just know he played a large role and he was around for a large portion. Throughout college, I had various positions. I was, like I said, an orientation leader. Then I moved on to become a lead orientation leader. I was an 1828 ambassador. I was also on the cheer team. But before I was on the cheer team, I was a part of what was the pom and dance team. It was 2 separate teams. They had the competition cheer and the pom and dance. So once they got rid of pom and dance, then I was a cheerleader. And that only lasted for about a year. And then after that, I was like, I'm good. I'm good. You know, when we were on the bus coming back specifically from a North Carolina game, and one of the white girls was like, can I say this? I can say this. One of the white girls was like, I feel like we should be allowed to say the N-word because it's in so many songs and some of my friends let me say it. And at that point, I looked at her with her blonde hair and her blue eyes, and I questioned, because this wasn't the first thing she said, you know, that wasn't like push me over the edge. She had said multiple things, but I was just like, But what really pushed me over the edge was the next summer, you know, right before the next school year and season, we had a camp and we had pictures. I kid you not. Our coach said something along the lines like, y'all are crazy, you need Jesus. And this white girl with blonde hair and blue eyes said, yeah, because Jesus is my nigga. Literally myself and 2 other of my teammates snapped. At that point, I was like, you know what, Augusta, y'all got it. Y'all got it. Because I was at the point in my life where I was very reactionary, and I didn't want to, you know, I was involved in a lot of organizations, and I didn't want to let someone take me out of character, and especially because I'm a Black woman on a PWI campus in Augusta, Georgia, where we're surrounded by old white money. I wasn't trying to cause a scene, so I was like, I'm just going to separate myself, because there's a lot of that type of behavior, and I can't sit here and lecture y'all and you see nothing wrong with it. So yeah, I had to let that go. I'm gonna let that ship sail. No feelings, no hard feelings. I stayed close with the coach. The coach was, there's my dog, okay? She looked out for me. I just almost told myself, and I can't. Y'all remind me in like 4 years when I'm out the school system to tell you some stories, okay? But for right now, yeah, so I was very involved. I was also a part of Naturally Crowned. I served as one of the vice presidents, and that was literally an experience in and of itself. I love that I had that opportunity because I've always been invested in hair. When I went natural in 2014, December specifically is when I cut my hair, I literally started researching like a crazy person. Crazy, okay. I'm laughing because I have notebooks and notebooks and notebooks of information. I was a part of Naturally Crowned, and then also Black and Blooming. I was a part of She Blossoms for a little bit, but it wasn't that there was anything wrong with it. It's a wonderful organization. It just, at the time while it was developing, wasn't the right fit for me. And I was a part of so much. I also ended up joining BSU, which is Black Student Union. You see the Black and Blooming, Naturally Crowned, Black Student Union. If you couldn't tell throughout college, I really like deeply rooted myself in my heritage. Yes, I am Jamaican and Haitian. At the end of the day, I am black, blackity black, okay? And that's on what? To be really honest, I was lit in college, okay? I got my work done and I went to class, but I was lit from my freshman year to my senior year. Yeah. I worked hard, so I was allowed to play hard, but just know I was lit, and I'm gonna leave it at that, okay? We don't need to get into details. I was definitely a college student. You couldn't tell me anything, okay? I mean, you could, but at the same time, you couldn't. You really couldn't. I actually went to college initially for dental hygiene, and then my freshman year I took a psychology course and was like, this is literally what I eat, sleep, and breathe. So yeah, changed my major to psychology. Best decision of my life. That's what I'm getting my master's in now. And overall, college was, my undergrad experience was really, I do have to tell y'all, while it was fun, you know how in the video before this I literally said that my mental and physical health got better when I left Augusta? My mental health was not the best, okay? I was still the strong friend, but at the same time I was like in my room having anxiety attacks and crying, and I used to be so reactionary, so people used to get to me, and I really thought I was in love with my boyfriend at the time, the on and off boyfriend, and then I thought I was in love when I was in a situationship, and what a dummy. Looking back, it's laughable because I really put myself through so much that I didn't have to put up with. I was literally pouring my soul into people that couldn't even efficiently communicate with me. So, you live and you learn. No hard feelings, because at the end of the day, I was the one that put up with it. I can't even be mad at myself. I was young and experiencing life. I've learned my lesson though. So now I'm not mean, but I definitely don't let anyone waste my time. Like, I don't even entertain people. It's really hard to get my attention. And then once I'm talking to somebody, it's over with. It's a wrap. Because if I'm talking to someone, they have my attention. Whether we're talking, or, if I like you, you have my attention. But yeah, college was rough. I'm not even gonna lie to you. College was rough, and I cried when I graduated because, well, I didn't cry at graduation. I cried later, but that was because I didn't leave until July, August. So it was really rough. I just remember having so many anxiety attacks. My anxiety had never been that high before in my entire life. And I just kept experiencing so much death, so much heartache, so much. And I'm proud of myself because I was so strong. Even though I was young and growing, I've always been strong. After I had my anxiety attack, I might be down a little bit, but then I'll pick myself up. And I went through so much of it alone because I refused to let people see me like that. And then I actually developed those friendships where I could be vulnerable. And I knew that it wasn't necessarily, they would view me as weak, but I was allowed to be vulnerable because I was comfortable enough with them. And I was about to go into the situation with my best friend, but this video is getting kind of long. And I don't really know if you guys care about that. If you want to hear about it, I'll do a whole video about it. I'm not about to the video would definitely be a tea time video. And it's not even, I could write a book about it. But if y'all want that video, let me know. If you don't, I won't even waste your time because it's its own video in and of itself. But anyway, you know the drill. Take a break for your mental, your physical, your spiritual health. You know the drill. Take a break for your mental, your physical, your spiritual health.